相変わらず俺には勝てないな。
At night, in a warehouse, a hitman named Hideo Kudo faces 3 assassins from his own organization. Although outnumbered, Kudo, known as the top assassin, fights with precision and defeats them one after another. Exhausted, he sits down and lights a cigarette. The brief silence ends when he hears the sound of a gun being aimed at him. He turns, but before he can react, he is shot dead. The bullet casing falls to the floor, stained with his blood. The city will remember his death. This is Ghost Killer. Soon after, a cleanup team arrives to remove the bodies. They work quickly but fail to notice the casing. It is kicked around by different people until it eventually ends up on a staircase in the middle of the city. The story shifts to a restaurant in Shibuya, where a college student named Matsuoka Fumika works part-time as a waitress. That day, one of her coworkers suddenly quits, leaving her to handle the entire shift alone. The workload is overwhelming, and some customers only make things worse. After her shift, she meets Masaki, a popular influencer. Fumika hopes to learn how to build an online presence, but instead Masaki flirts with her. He asks about her boyfriend, which irritates her, and she excuses herself to the restroom. Although she feels uncomfortable, she stays because she still wants advice. When she returns, Masaki presses further, even making her touch his muscles. Repulsed, Fumika checks the train schedule, ready to leave. Masaki pretends to go to the restroom, deliberately stalling her. Feeling guilty, she waits. By the time the last train has gone, he returns with an apology and suggests they drink until morning. Against her better judgment, she agrees. The next morning, he tries to persuade her to visit his home. Fumika imagines striking him, but she keeps her anger hidden. Later, on her way home, she grows irritated at the long staircase she must climb. She trips and falls, then notices a bullet casing on the steps. When she picks it up, she briefly imagines the gun that fired it. Without thinking much, she slips it into her pocket and continues on her way, unaware that Kudo's ghost is now following her. Back at her apartment, Fumika finds her best friend, Maho, waiting. Maho's face is bruised, the result of abuse from her boyfriend Ryosuke. Fumika wonders why Maho refuses to leave him, but says nothing. As they talk, Fumika suddenly sees Kudo's ghost standing nearby. Shocked, she realizes Maho cannot see him. Maho jokes that she must be hallucinating, asking if she took strange pills. Fumika denies it, but when Maho teases that it might be a ghost, Fumika notices blood on Kudo's clothes. Panicked, she throws objects at him, but they pass straight through. Terrified, she screams. Maho rushes to calm her, insisting that ghosts are not real. Gradually, Fumika regains control, and Kudo's ghost disappears. Moments later, Maho receives a message from Ryosuke asking to meet. She decides to leave and, before going, tells Fumika to see a doctor. After Maho steps out, Fumika closes the door. Kudo suddenly appears and asks about Maho. Startled, Fumika bolts outside but trips. Kudo catches her hand, and in that instant he takes control of her body. He quickly realizes he can move her as if she were his own. Looking into a mirror, he notices that while Fumika's mind remains conscious, her body follows his command. She can still move her lips, but her actions belong to him. The experience confuses him, since he has never been able to touch a human in his ghostly state. To test this strange connection, Kudo jumps on the bed, ignoring Fumika's desperate pleas for him to leave. Eventually, he closes his eyes and manages to step out of her body. Fumika breathes in relief, but Kudo reappears, trying to speak with her again. Panicked, she flees her apartment. Outside, she considers finding a spiritual medium for help. Kudo suddenly blocks her path, startling her once more. She runs again, yet notices that he keeps reappearing nearby. He soon figures out the truth. He cannot move farther than 15 meters from her. On the street, Fumika sees Ryosuke attacking Maho for money. Maho collapses under the blows, and Fumika rushes to her side. Ryosuke warns her not to interfere. When Fumika kneels to check on Maho, he returns and tries to drag her away. Kudo appears and urges Fumika to let him possess her so he can lend his strength. She refuses at first, but when Ryosuke strikes Maho again, she grabs Kudo's hand and agrees. Kudo takes over her body and confronts Ryosuke. With a swift kick, he sends him back, shocking both Maho and
何
Ryosuke.
か
真帆の服装はめちゃくちゃ似合ってるわクソボケ
Famika herself is stunned, unaware that Kudo intended to fight. Furious, Ryosuke attacks again, but Kudo responds with a punch that drops him to the ground. The moment Kudo exits, Ryosuke charges once more. Famika is unable to reach Kudo in time, but Maho grabs a stone and strikes Ryosuke in the head, protecting her friend. When the fight ends, Famika and Maho check on each other. Kudo notices that Ryosuke is no longer breathing. Famika's fixed stare in his direction makes Maho uneasy, and she asks if Famika sees someone standing there. Later, the two sit together in a restaurant. They talk about the ghost, and while Maho is doubtful at first, the fight convinces her. She knows Famika could not have defeated Ryosuke on her own. Famika grows angry that Kudo used her body without permission and complains about the pain in her hands. In frustration, she grabs salt to drive him away, but Kudo disappears before she can throw it. Her sudden outburst startles the waiter and nearby customers, forcing Maho to apologize on her behalf. Kudo soon reappears, pointing out that Famika wanted to stop Ryosuke all along. He reminds her that she blocked him from leaving. His words only make her angrier, as she insists he is interfering in her life. Kudo replies that his intention was to help, adding that if he had died normally, he would already be in nirvana. He then remembers the bullet casing Famika picked up and begins to suspect his spirit is bound to her, because his anger has merged with her frustrations. Kudo finally introduces himself as a former hitman for a Japanese crime syndicate. He recalls being betrayed and killed by someone in the organization and believes that only revenge will allow him to reach nirvana. Famika is shocked when he asks for her help. She refuses and leaves the restaurant with Maho. On the way, Kudo explains that he had held back when possessing her body so she would not be harmed. He admits he would prefer a soldier's body, but because she picked up the casing, he is now bound to her. Before they part, Famika tells Maho to call if Ryosuke appears again. She then heads to a temple, hoping to exorcise the ghost. Instead of finding a ritual, she prays quietly, but nothing happens. Kudo bluntly tells her that prayers alone are not an exorcism. Later, Famika receives a message from Masaki saying he is at a bar with Narumi and inviting her to join them. She agrees, despite Kudo's warning to stay away, eager to learn how to build her presence on social media. At the bar, Masaki leans in, trying to sniff Famika's perfume, but quickly pulls back when Narumi arrives. Famika introduces herself, excited to meet Narumi, a well-known content creator. Narumi asks what Famika would do if she gained fame. Famika replies that she wants to appear on variety shows and radio programs. When the drinks arrive, Narumi and Masaki invite her to join them. As the night goes on, Famika begins to feel uneasy. She takes out money to leave, but her head starts spinning. Realizing her drink was spiked, she struggles to stand. Narumi and Masaki believe their plan has worked, but Famika shocks them with anger instead of fear. She is unaffected because Kudo warned her earlier. The story flashes back. Kudo had told Famika that Masaki and Narumi were involved in drug and weapons trafficking, the same business that tied them to his old organization. Although doubtful at first, Famika still chose to go to the bar to confirm the truth. She intended to expose them with Kudo's help if they were guilty. Kudo also warned her that the bar staff were part of the scheme and reminded her that any injury would damage her body. When the waiter slipped something into her drink, Kudo alerted her in time. Back in the present, Masaki and Narumi laugh at Famika for speaking to herself. Kudo extends his hand to her. Before taking it, she offers them a chance to surrender to the police. They laugh again, claiming they will be released immediately. Famika allows Kudo to take over. When Masaki tries to drag her away, Kudo inside her body knocks him unconscious.
キモいから。もう泣いたわ。
Narumi, shocked, lunges at her, but Kudo grabs an ice pick. Famika protests, fearing she could face prison, so he switches to a bottle instead and strikes Narumi down. The fight escalates as the waiter and bartender join in. They are stronger than expected. Kudo dodges their blows and manages to defeat the waiter, but the bartender proves harder to handle. Grabbing a set of darts, Kudo prepares to attack. Famika resists again, but he insists they are dangerous and must be stopped. He injures the bartender's leg, then chokes him until he loses consciousness.
てかそんなかかるの？
Once the fight is over, Kudo leaves Famika's body and warns her that she will feel the pain soon. As the aches spread through her, she breaks down, stunned that she fought so violently. Kudo, guilt-ridden, tells her she made the right choice. Even so, he insists they cannot leave the unconscious men behind. Famika suggests calling the police, but Kudo refuses, explaining that it would not be seen as clear self-defense and she might end up in prison. Instead, he tells her to contact his former associate, Kagahara, to handle the situation. Reluctantly, Famika makes the call. Kagahara is confused, reminding her that Kudo is dead, but she insists. After hanging up, she tells Kudo that Kagahara is on his way and asks what kind of man he is. Kudo replies that Kagahara rarely speaks to anyone. When Kagahara arrives at the bar, he sees no sign of Kudo. Famika introduces herself and explains that Kudo is now a ghost who can possess her. Kagahara assumes she is mocking him and even considers killing her. Terrified, Famika tries to calm him, but Kudo clasps her hand, giving her strength to resist. Kudo warns that Kagahara cannot defeat him. Kagahara refuses to concede. He insists he only lost because his opponent was a woman, claiming that if he had known it was Kudo, the outcome would be different. Kudo grows angry, reminding him that he has never won against him. He even jokes that Famika should act as referee, but Kagahara brushes it off, saying the priority is cleaning up the bar. As they leave, Famika says Kudo will not rest until he takes revenge. Kagahara admits the killer may be from within their own organization, but he cannot confirm since leadership has already changed. The former boss who recruited Kudo is dead, and his son now controls the group. The new leader often clashed with Kudo, leading Famika to suspect him, but Kagahara doubts it will be that simple. Kagahara explains that assassins in the group are like pet dogs. Men who fail to live normal lives are taken in by the boss and reshaped into killers. Famika tells him not to call himself that, warning that if he keeps belittling himself, he will eventually believe it, just as she once did. They arrive at a hidden site where the 4 men from the bar are being held. Kudo recognizes the place immediately, but Famika is horrified to learn it is an execution ground. Kagahara hands her a pistol and orders her to kill the captives. She refuses, saying her only goal is to help Kudo reach Nirvana. Kagahara carries out the torture himself, while Kudo urges Famika to look away.
マジで関わらなきゃよかった。
When it is over, he escorts her home. Before leaving, he asks if she is truly possessed by Kudo. When she confirms, he accepts her answer and tells her they will not meet again. That night, Famika lies on her bed, drained from the day. She thanks Kudo, admitting she would not have survived without him. She also feels relieved that Mahoa's problem is resolved. Kudo replies that he is glad to help, even though his true goal is still to reach Nirvana. He adds that doing some good after death is not bad, since in life he only took lives. Famika asks him to promise that whenever he possesses her body, he will act like a hero. At first, Kudo is puzzled, but seeing her sincerity, he agrees. Soon after, she falls asleep. Meanwhile, crime boss Honda Tsungo tortures a subordinate after hearing a rumor that Kudo is still alive. The man insists he dumped Kudo's body into the sea, but Honda accuses him of letting Kudo survive. At that moment, Kagahara arrives and reports that Kudo's spirit is possessing a college girl. Honda laughs at the idea, but listens carefully. He then orders his right-hand man, Katsura, to kill the tortured subordinate. Not long after, a group of Yakuza storm in, angry at Honda for trespassing on their territory. They attempt to kill him, but Katsura picks up a weapon and slaughters them all within seconds.
10秒かかるかな。
Stunned, Kagahara asks who he is. Honda replies coldly that Katsura is his new dog, strong and obedient. Honda then demands Kudo's location. Kagahara hesitates, protesting that an innocent person is involved, but under pressure, he gives up Famika's address. Katsura and 4 men immediately head there. Kudo senses their approach and wakes Famika. He warns her that assassins are closing in, their footsteps echoing through the hall. Famika realizes Kagahara must have betrayed her. Moments later, the men break into her apartment. Kudo takes control of her body and quickly seizes a hostage. A gunfight erupts, ending with all the attackers dead. Katsura enters and finds his men slain, while Famika manages to escape. Kudo leads her to his old hideout, only to find Kagahara waiting. He admits he gave her address to Honda. Furious, Famika confronts him. Shaken, Kagahara draws a pistol, but Famika grabs Kudo's hand and lets him take over. Kudo fights Kagahara and forces him back. When Kagahara reaches for a gun on the ground, Kudo takes it first. At that moment, memories of his death resurface, and he realizes Kagahara was the one who killed him. Kagahara confesses he had no choice. Kudo had broken the rules and defied Honda's orders, and if he had not pulled the trigger, the organization would have killed him instead. Kudo understands. He knows Kagahara never wanted to kill him, since he was the only one Kagahara trusted. He tells him not to carry the guilt, because otherwise Kagahara would have been the target. Kudo steps out of Famika's body. Feeling abandoned, Kagahara begs him to return, saying only Kudo understands what it means to live as the organization's dog. Kudo tries to comfort him, but, unable to touch him, sits silently beside him. Shocked by the scene, Famika moves closer and gently urges Kagahara to release his grief. While this unfolds, Honda furiously scolds his men for failing to kill a single young woman. He is also irritated that Katsura emerged unharmed. Katsura steps toward his comrades, ready to execute one as punishment, but Honda stops him. He says there is no time and orders tighter security, convinced the woman possessed by Kudo will come to them. By morning, Kagahara asks Famika about her plan. He suggests she leave town and hide, but Famika refuses. She declares she will destroy the organization, not only to help Kudo reach Nirvana, but also to take revenge for herself. Kagahara is shocked, reminding her the headquarters is full of assassins like him. Famika insists she does not care, saying her revenge is personal. After Famika and Kudo leave, Kagahara follows, knowing they cannot succeed alone. Before entering, he makes Famika promise not to kill anyone, saying that is his responsibility as a hitman. She agrees, and he hands her a knife. His plan is to go in first while Famika and Kudo secure weapons from the armory. Before they move, Kudo promises he will not let her die inside. Kudo slips in first in ghost form and signals Famika to follow. When someone walks past, he tells her to stay hidden. Meanwhile, Kagahara makes his way inside and notices that everyone is armed, unaware that Katsura is secretly watching him. Famika and Kudo reach the armory and collect weapons. They regroup with Kagahara, who updates them on the situation. Soon, the three prepare to fight together. A gunfight erupts. Kudo and Kagahara, veterans of many battles, take down Honda's men with speed and precision. Reinforcements arrive, but they too fall quickly. Then Katsura steps in. Out of bullets, Famika hides, but Katsura spots her and gives chase. Famika grips her knife, ready to defend herself. Kudo exits her body and explains he will observe Katsura's movements and return at the right moment. Katsura closes in. When Famika makes a sound, he zeroes in. At that instant, Kudo re-enters her body. The fight begins. Kudo attacks, forcing Katsura to drop his pistol. The two strongest fighters face off. Katsura seizes the knife, but Kudo dodges each strike. They wrestle for control until the blade slips away. Kudo wraps a cloth around Famika's fists, turning them into makeshift gloves, and the fight shifts to hand-to-hand combat. Blow after blow, Katsura presses the attack. Kudo defends to reduce the damage Famika's body takes, but Katsura notices and keeps striking her injuries. Kudo falls for a feint and takes a hard hit, forcing him out of her body. Katsura seizes the chance and strangles Famika. She gasps for air and yells at Kudo, saying a ghost should not collapse from pain. Summoning her strength, she grabs Katsura's hair and slams his head down, breaking free. She stumbles back to Kudo and allows him to re-enter. Kudo rises and lands a powerful kick that knocks Katsura unconscious. He prepares to escape with Famika, but Katsura staggers back to his feet. Before he can strike again, Honda arrives and shoots him dead. Kagahara suddenly intervenes, attacking Honda and tossing a pistol to Kudo. When Honda empties his gun, Famika fires and hits both his legs. Writhing on the ground, Honda demands to know who she is. Famika replies that she is nothing more than a college student. With no hesitation, Kagahara delivers the final blow and kills Honda.
見るぞ。
As the battle ends, Famika collapses under the weight of her injuries. The pain floods in, and with it the fear she has been holding back. For the first time, she lets it all out. Later, as they leave, Famika still feels the ache in her body, yet she is grateful for the changes she has gone through. She thanks Kudo, unaware that he has already passed on to Nirvana after avenging his death. Before they part, Kagahara advises her to return to a normal life. He tells her he will take care of what remains, otherwise the organization will continue to target her. He promises to send money so she can repair her home and adds that there is no reason for them to meet again. Weeks later, Famika returns home and once again finds the bullet casing on the same staircase. The memory of that night flashes through her mind, but Maho's sudden shout pulls her back. Smiling, she runs to meet her best friend. So the moral of the story is never pick up random bullet casings, or you might end up with a ghost roommate, gang wars, and way too many bar fights.